Good evening, race fans. I'm Dobbs Davis here at the AEGEAN 600, giving you a report after 4 days of racing, a little over 4 days. We will open up our show here with the tracking, YB tracking screen, as we've done for the last few days. This shows the positions of the boats on the course, and we learn a little bit about their tactics and strategy at getting around this 605-mile racetrack. As you can see, most of the boats are over here and having finished. In fact, one is coming across the finish line just about now. This is a Archambault 40 called Lataka B. These guys are, as shown here, going about 7.3 knots and probably reaching in or maybe beating. The wind out here today on the western side of the AEGEAN has been really brisk. Today's been the windiest day for sure that we've experienced over on this side of the race course. Breeze is easily 20 knots, and I would say gust of 30. There's plenty of waves out there in the straits between this island and the shoreline here. Finish line, as always, is at Cape Saunio, and it's underneath the Temple of Poseidon. It's quite a spectacular sight. So these guys, Israeli team, will be certainly happy to be ashore. They've had quite a long race, and we'll look at their position in the leaderboard, but I think our class leaders were determined mostly yesterday by the finishers that got in. Nonetheless, good job on them. We have one class leader that is out here still. This is the Polish JPK 1030 called Numa. These guys, double-handing, are coming in on final approach into the finish line. There's 10 miles left for them to go at about 7 knots, so they're pushing right along. One might ask, well, wait a minute, if it's so windy, why aren't they going faster? And the reason is that these boats are not really big boats, especially in the big seas that are out there. They're likely reefed with small headsails, and it's probably a little difficult to drive in those big seas. So it's not surprising that they're having those boat speeds, which for those size boats is actually pretty fast. A couple of boats here are at Mykonos, and I'm not quite sure what's going on because they're not tracking to be very fast. Sometimes these end up being glitches in the tracker, and we get them corrected. This Hansa 418 Legato Greek boat at 1.8 knots. It could be they're in the lee of something there and just not going. We see the same thing here with another boat, Four Seasons 4. This is an Australian-based boat in the maxi class, actually, a Holland 68. This is quite an old design, but they certainly should be going faster than that. So my theory is that they could be stuck in here. A lot of the reports coming from the crews after they get ashore is, wow, this is really a challenging race course. Not just for the high winds, but actually for the lees and getting through gates in these islands. The wind swirls around, and actually they've said they can go from dead calm and dead still to then getting hit with a 20-knot gust or more, and then still again. So very turbulent breeze conditions within and through these islands. And then the tail end Charlies are out over here on the east side of the course. Good news is they're on their way home. This boat, Kalisti, is another double-handed boat. It's actually a mini transat boat, which is 6.5 meters. And do the math, that's really small. It's 18 feet long. These guys have, 137.8 miles to the finish. But they're speeding along at 5 knots, and they're going to have a big night in front of them getting across here in all the breeze. And then the last guy out here is a multi-hull, and it's not one of the big multi-hulls that finished soon after the race started. This is a quick decision. It's a Outreamer 4X catamaran, so it's pretty much a cruising boat. Why they're only going 2.4 knots, again, could be a variety of reasons. They're reefed down to be comfortable in the big cat. The boat's not very, certainly not very long, and not super fast. in these conditions. Remember, and we got reports of this talking to some of the teams, is seamanship dictates that you got to get there to finish the race. It's no good if you push hard for speed reasons and then break something and drop out of the race. What's actually is what's happened. I wanted to point out a rival of Numa who is over here, and these guys have done a fabulous job of sailing double-handed. They'll be our first double-handed entries to finish this long race. Another one they were rivaling with here is Ether, and as you can see, they're dead stopped. They were neck and neck, certainly in the first half of the race with Numa behind. Numa finally got past them in this leg. Ether was tacking up and heading up this way last night, probably 9, 10 o'clock. And something happened. They have what they call technical difficulties. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but it caused them to slow down and then limp down to get safely up into the lee of this island. The island's called Liros. And there's, remember, only 2 people on board, so it's always better to choose the safe option. So we'll find out more what happened to them. But for now, they've retired from the race and they're sitting out here. But these guys will have a long night. Now, one thing, maybe I can zoom in and show you why Quick Decision certainly had a long way. Look, in the blue trail of their track, you can see why they're very different than a monohull going upwind. Look at these tacking angles. And again, the breeze is coming out of the top of the page here. So this is really a square beat on this leg. And that catamaran with those tacking angles didn't make very fast progress compared to even a small monohull like this mini Transat boat, who was much more effective at going upwind. So boat types have a lot to do with how they're getting around the track and what the conditions are and so forth. This is the gist of my show for today. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll have some race results. We'll have some stories and have some photos. But for now, I'm going to sign off. I'm Dobbs Davis with Seahorse Magazine. Thanks for tuning in to the second edition of the AEGEAN 600. And we look forward to having you tune in again tomorrow.